All right, so I'm going to give you some help with graphing and writing equations of absolute value functions. So the last video was an exploration to help you see a couple things about our absolute value graphs. And so I'm going to summarize those now. So hopefully when you did the exploration, you saw a couple things. One is about the A value and one is about HK. So the A value is out in front of our absolute value bars. And remember, those absolute value bars give it away, tells us exactly what kind of function it is. All right, now that A value is going to tell me two things. All right, so the first thing it's going to tell me, right, is the constant rate of change. All right, so we know from our work with tables that we have a constant rate of change going down and then up, or then up, then down. So that A value is going to tell us what that constant rate of change is. Now, the other thing is that if A is positive, it tells us that we're going to have a V-shaped graph that opens up, right? And then if A is negative, negative, then we're going to have a V-shaped graph, right, that opens down. All right, so that A value is going to tell us two important things. It's going to tell us which way it opens, and then it's going to tell us, all right, that rate of change. Now, the other piece that we hoped you saw in the exploration was how to identify the vertex, all right, of that absolute value function. We knew that we could recognize that in our table of values from the symmetry around it, from our change of direction. All right, now, so visually, we identify HK in the same way we were identifying our point with our lines. All right, and that's going to be our vertex, right, or turning point, whichever way you want to describe it. All right, okay, so vertex or turning point. And then once again, it's going to be opposite on the inside here, just like with our points, and the same on the outside. All right, so let's go through a few examples. All right, so let me move my camera a little bit, move my paper here. All right, so if we look at number one, all right, notice our A value is 3, and we know from our work with lines that we just put that over 1, and we have a whole number. It's a positive A value, so we know it's going to open up, so we're going to have a graph that looks like this. And then notice, we're looking for our vertex. Notice there is no number inside with the x, and so that means that the x value of our vertex has to be 0. And notice there's no number on the outside, which means that our y value for our vertex also has to be 0. All right, so we get 0, 0 for our vertex right here. All right, so now when we graph our absolute value, we're going to use our rate of change just like we would do for a line. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3 to the right one. I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3 to the right one again. Now notice that's only half, right? That's like this side of our graph, right? So to get the other side, we're still going to go up 3. So 1, 2, 3, but now I'm going to go left 1 to create the opposite side. Okay, and I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3 to the left 1 to create that point. And then we get our V, and then once again, we can still see the symmetry around our turning point, right? These 2 points match. These 2 points match. So we can see a lot of that stuff that we talked about from our table of values showing up in the graph as well. All right, so let's look at number 2 here. All right, the A value is negative 1/2, which means it's going to open down. So now I'm going to have this guy like that. Okay, now let's identify that vertex. We have to have somewhere to start, and it's going to be 4, 1. All right, so 4, 1. So once again, I'm going to go to 4, 1, and there's my starting point. All right, now my rate of change is negative 1/2. So I'm going to graph this just like we would for a line. So I'm going to go down 1 to the right 2, down 1 to the right 2, all right, and then I get this part right here. But I know I need that other half of the V. So I'm going to go down 1, and I'm just going to go in the opposite direction now and go back 2. I'm going to go down 1 and back 2. And there is that guy. All right, so let's take a look at 2 more. All right, so when I look at number 3 here, once again, we see that the A value is 2 over 1. It's positive, so it's going to open up, so I know it's going to look like this. And once again, here's that trick, right? So we know that it's going to be opposite of what it looks like here. So my x-coordinate of my vertex is negative 4, and then my y-coordinate is -5. All right, so -4, -5 would be right here. All right, and now we're going to do our slope. So up 2 to the right 1, up 2 to the right 1, there's half of our v. All right, so now I'm going to get the other half. I'm going to go up 2 to the left 1, up 2 to the left 1. And then once again, be sure to put arrows on the top of those because we do know it's going to continue going up and forever. All right, so one more of these together. All right, so let's look at number 4 here. We can see that the a value is 4/3. It's once again positive, so we're going to have that look again, so it's going to open up. All right, and then our vertex this time, notice it's opposite on the inside, so we know the x-coordinate is -4, and notice there is no number on the outside of our absolute value over here, which means our y-coordinate would be 0. All right, so we're going to start -4, 0 right here. All right, so once again, I'm going to do my slope of 4/3. So 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do that one more time. Up 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right, 1, 2, 3. All right, so there's half of our v. Now I'm going to do the other half. So I'm going to go up 4 again. Now I'm going to go to the left 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do that one more time. Up 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left, 1, 2, 3. All right, my friends. There's our absolute value graph. Okay, now the other thing we're going to do, right, just like we did with lines, we are going to reverse the process. All right, so the other thing that we want to be able to do is, all right, just like we did earlier when we gave you a graph of a line, we wanted you to be able to write the equation of the line. Okay. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to give you a graph of an absolute value, and you can see that standard 5.2. I can write the equation of an absolute value function from a graph. All right. And the nice thing is, once again, we are really working with the same two pieces of information, which is that vertex, okay, and the a value. That's all we need because we know it's y equals a x minus h plus k. All right. That's our form. So we just want to identify the vertex, identify our a value, and then throw those into our equation. All right, so now, once again, the vertex is the point of the v. So when I look at number 5, I can see that the point of my v is at -2, 3. Now, notice our v opens down. Okay, so it opens down. So we know our a value has to be negative. All right. And so when I go down, I'm going to find my slope just like we would if we were finding our rise over run for a line. So I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right 1. So my a value is -4/1. And now all I have to do is plug in all this information into the key pieces here. So if I plug the a value in, that would be -4 out front. And notice it's x minus h. So this is x minus -2. When I subtract a negative, it becomes a positive. And then I have plus 3 on the outside. All right, and that's all you need to do. All right, so now when we look at number 6, let's start with that vertex. It's the point of the v, right? So the point of the v, there's our turning point. All right, it comes down and up. All right, and it's 2, 1. All right, we know it opens up, so we know we're going to have a positive a value. All right, so it's got to be positive. So now I'm going to find my rise over run just like we would do for a line. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3 to the right, 1, 2. And there it is. So now we just put that information in. So y equals 3/2. And we have to have those absolute value bars because that's what makes an absolute value. And then it's x minus h, so x minus 2, and then plus 1. All right, so let's do 2 more together here. All right, 2 more together. All right, so looking at number 7, the point of our v is here. So that is 0, 6. It opens down. All right, opens down. So we know the a value is going to be a negative. All right, and then now I'm just going to count my rise over run. So down 1, 2, 3 to the right 1. So that's -3/1. All right, so now y equals, and there's that a value out front. And I have x minus 0 and then plus 6. And now if you want to clean that up a little bit, we don't have to write x minus 0. If you do, it's perfectly fine. But you could have just written absolute value of x plus 6, right? So x minus 0 is just x. All right, let's wrap up with one last problem here. So when I look at my vertex here, it is 0, 0. All right, we open up, so we know we're going to have a positive a value. All right, so let's find that with our rise over run up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the right 1, 2. All right, and so then y would equal to 5 over 2. And then once again, we have x minus 0 plus 0. And once again, that is technically correct, but you won't see all those zeros. What you would see is the 5 over 2 out front, and then just the absolute value of x like that. All right, so your job is to now finish all the group practice and the independent practice, all right, on your own. So have a great day. I'll see you in class tomorrow.